Every now and then, God releases to us messages to his people that are uncomfortable. And it is the mandate of the one who has delivered the message to be uncomfortable in delivering a comfortable message. So as we preach this message, I am asking you to pray with me as I pray with and for you. Our subject this afternoon is dealing with pain in the midst of being so blessed. Dealing with pain in the midst of being so blessed. Dealing with pain in the midst of being so blessed. If you turn with me to Psalm 22, read verses 1 through 11. Psalm 22, verses 1 through 11. You can pull them up on your iPhone or your iPad. Psalm 22, verses 1 through 11. Allow me to have the privilege to read this to you. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of my groaning? Oh my God, right there in the Bible, OMG. Oh my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but I find no rest. Yet you are holy, enthroned with the praises of Israel. In you our fathers trusted, and I would argue that our mothers trusted too. They trusted and you delivered them. To you they cried and were rescued. In you they trusted and were not put to shame. But I am a worm and not a human, scorned by mankind and humankind and despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads. They say this: he trusts in the Lord. Let the Lord deliver. Let the Lord rescue, for he delights in it. Yet you are he who took me from the womb. You made me trust you in my mother's breast. On you was I cast from my birth, and from my mother's womb you have been my God. But not far from me, for trouble is near, and there is none to help. Psalm 22, a very perplexing prayer by David. I want to approach this from the position that on this past Monday, Sister Sandy came and blew through everything. Sister Sandy came and just wrecked shop. She blew and she spit. She cursed some. She stomped on others. And I know I'm using personification because Hurricane Sandy, a Storm Sandy, a Frankenstorm, a Megastorm Sandy, whatever you want to call it, really jacked up a whole lot of stuff. There are people in pain even as we speak. People in pain even now, even here, as a result of something that you didn't even ask for. As a result of something that happened upon you. Folks on the Jersey Shore, lives appear to be wrecked. Folks in northern New Jersey suffer. Lines to get gas miles long. You wait hours in line just to find out that the gas station ran out of gas. And then in New York, subways flooded. Folks without lights, heat. Folks who are perplexed by the fact that certain individuals wanted a marathon to happen So to bring more income into the city, as opposed to utilizing those resources to get out in the hood where folks were in need. But how do you deal with the pain in the midst of being so blessed? Hurricane Sandy, Katrina, Irene, Rita, shootings in Aurora, Colorado, and Atlanta, 9/11, folks having hurricanes on their jobs, folks having hurricanes in their households, folks having hurricanes in their health situations. Things that happen upon you that you don't ask for, that you didn't create, that you didn't set up. Many of us are still struggling with the pains of having dreams deferred. We live our lives doing the things that we're supposed to do in order to reap the benefits according to what people tell us, and it doesn't happen that way. People tell you all you have to do is love hard and live good, and good things will happen. It doesn't work that way. And then it seems that only the lucky are lucky, and those who are not lucky are cursed. But the reality is those who seem to be lucky are really lucky. Suicide is at an all-time high. Frustration and depression is at an all-time high. Folks are literally losing their minds over daily situations. I'm mindful of my graduate students, my professional students, my college students that seem to feel that no matter how hard you study, the system is against you. That no matter how many times you show up to class and you do all the foolish things that your professors, yes, many of them are foolish, ask you to do, that there seems to be no beneficial result to time served. You have not been rehabilitated. But yet, we are so blessed. Life is painful. It's painful. One person defines pain as a physical, emotional, or mental negative sensation that is uncomfortable and unpleasant. There are degrees of severity and degrees of length. If I cut my arm, there's an immediate pain, but then it subsides and goes away. If I break my arm, there's an immediate and long-standing pain, but eventually it goes away. But I would argue this afternoon that there's a pain that we don't talk about, and it's what I call spiritual pain. It's a pain that is often undiagnosed and rarely treated, and certainly not talked about. It's a deep and earth-shattering pain. It's a pain that goes beyond your humanness. It's a pain that's not natural. It's a pain that gets up under your bones and in your skin that medicine won't help. That many of us, if we're true and honest, that we sometimes believe that prayer won't help. It's a type of pain that makes people lose their faith, let alone leave the church. It's a pain that says, God, if you are with me, then you need to show up right now, because I need you right now. But it's a pain that reveals that God is still doing something. Pain is triggered by something. Pain is triggered by something. In our scripture, we find David crying out, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of my own groaning? Oh my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer. By night, but I find out David is at wit's end. But I love verse 3, because verse 3 starts with yet. And here's what I want you to pay attention to. When David cries out loud in this prayer, acknowledging his suffering, in the moment of acknowledgement, he realizes that yet you are holy. Yet you have never given up on my ancestors. And when I look back over the longevity of my experience, I really shouldn't be here right now. When I look back over the existence of how things really happen, I shouldn't be here right now. And I know y'all are like, well, that's David. I'm not where David is. I'm not spiritually mature like David. I'm not at that point of realization like David. I'm hurting right now. I am in pain. And the only reason I'm screaming out is because I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I'm here to tell you every now and then you need to scream. You need to shout. You need to holler. You need to growl. You need to groan. You need to let it out. Because only when you let it out do you realize that you're still here. You're still here. You are still here. Lesson number 1 this afternoon on how to deal with pain. In his pain, David stays connected to God. He makes an intentional decision that no matter how mad or angry or hurt he is, he remains connected to God. I want to tell you why. Because in his belief, God was big enough that no matter how much he cried and moaned and groaned, that God still heard him. And that in releasing it, getting it out, there's a realization that your yell can change the atmosphere. When you hold it in and pent it up, we talked about this before, it creates toxins in your body. And the toxicity in your body begins to shut things down. But when you extract it, when you get it out, the old folks used to have a prayer closet. They go in the prayer closet and do all kinds of stuff. And they never told you because it's their prayer closet. In my own imagination, I think they went in there and yelled and hollered and screamed and shouted, even cursed God. I said that they cursed. It's unchristian to curse, but I'm not so sure. I think that God can deal with you where you are. If that's the only articulation that you have in that moment to express how you feel, you better get it out. God is bigger than you could ever imagine or conceive. God can deal with your stuff. So get it out, get it out, get it out. Give it to God. Because in the moment of you giving it to God, you realize that you are blessed, that God is there to hear you. I know it doesn't seem that way. I know it doesn't seem that way. David does it again in verse 6. But I am a worm. I'm beneath everybody because everybody's looking at me, laughing at me. People are making fun of me. People are mocking me. They say that God that you love so much. If God is all that, how come God ain't hooking you up right now? If God is all that, why you ain't got no electricity? If God is all that, why you ain't got no gas? If God is all that, why you ain't got no heat? If God is all that, where's your Verizon Fios? Where are you? Where is your God? And David says, I feel like I'm the underbelly of society. I feel like don't nobody care about me. But he gives it to God. Lesson number 2. David articulates his pain. He doesn't shut off or stew it. His prayer becomes a model for how to deal with it. I mean, if you look at this, his prayer made it into the Bible. His prayer, his frustration, his pain becomes a song for Christ's sake. And I know people tell you, you shouldn't get mad at God, you shouldn't be angry at God, you shouldn't be frustrated. It's in the Bible. David does what we try to do here. David is in his own skin. David's like, I am pissed. I am fed up. connection with God. And when he thinks back over the longevity, God has never forsaken. Oh, you gotta get this, you gotta get this. Y'all still stuck on WTF, that's all right. That's all right. You work that out. The third point, David was honest. He was open. He was not afraid to be vulnerable. David let it out. He said it. But not only did David say it, Jesus said it too. That first line, my God, why have you forsaken me? That's one of Jesus' last words. The very ending of this song, David says, it is finished. That's one of Jesus' last words. The theologians wrestle over the fact that when Jesus was on the cross, that perhaps he recited the whole Psalm 22. People argue that because although we only get captions of what he said, the beginning was, my God, why have thou forsaken me? And the end was, it is finished. David was real. That's why I like David. David was like, look, when it's time to celebrate, I'm going to get my boogie on. I am going to groove for the Lord. Not no church two-step, but he going to get down and shake their hips, get his shoulders all up in it. David was going to dance for the Lord. Not no just, David was going to get up in it because he understood how good God was. When David played his music, David wasn't afraid, since the Lord would play the sharp ninths and the flat 13. David got up in it and he grooved it on out. Created new songs. And when he wasn't playing the keyboard, he was on the guitar, on the lyre, he was on the drums. David was hooking it up. Not based on the slow root. David played some of everything. He had names on the back there. He was playing jazz and he was playing blues. And David was even a hip-hop producer because he understood that God is a God of creativity and not a God of limitations. And that if God could create it, then it was meant to be. What is my point here? My point is this: through acknowledgement, David took the first steps toward healing. By acknowledging the pain that you are in, you're taking the first steps toward healing. By saying, you know what, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I am sick and tired of being the footstool of everybody else. I am sick and tired of being beaten down, of being talked about, being scorned. I am sick and tired of being the only responsible one. I'm sick and tired of having everybody put all this stuff on me. I'm sick and tired of being everybody's ear. When they feel like they need something, they call me. I'm sick and tired. I need to release. This is what David is doing. When you realize that you have a space and a place to release, it gives you hope. And believe it or not, it gives you a little bit of joy. That's why we are here. We're here so that you have a safe place and a safe space to release. To know that there are a few people here who care about you so much that we look beneath the skin to your heart to see what you want to be, to know who you desire to be, and to help you to get to that place. Ain't nobody fixated on where you've been and all that stuff. Because we understand that in order for us to survive, you need to survive. God has gifted us and given us all kinds of talents and stuff to be utilized for His glory, for the edification of His people, and to grow His kingdom. That means that you are important. That means you are valuable. That means you have currency, you have worth. That means that you're precious to God and you are important to each of us. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. Let the children be free. Let them run around and play because they're in a space where they hear what's going on. Let them talk. That's why we have microphones. Because you can still hear. Let them roam around. Enough of trying to keep everybody sitting like this. We want you to be free to worship in whatever posture and position you need to worship. So when you bring your kids, we want you to know that we love them. And in loving them, we want them to be comfortable and have a space that they can call their own, to grow in a fellowship, in a community where we love them and they know it. So that we don't recreate the pains of the past. We don't recreate the foolishness of the past. Dealing with pain in the midst of being so blessed. You all, we are so blessed. We are so blessed. Y'all look good. You know you look good. You may be a little tired. You may be a little down. You may be a little frustrated. But you look good. And you need to tell yourself every now and then, you know what, I look good. And then you go, I feel good. I may be a little sick. I may be tired and worn out. But you know what? Being 6 feet above ground is much better than being 6 below. And so when you think about it, no matter how much stress and pain you are in, you have a chance to experience God's miracle, even in that moment. So I want you to hold fast on that. I want you to think through that. And I want you to acknowledge it. I want you to shout it out. If you got to go find you a park, go yell, shout, holler, growl, grunt, groan, whatever your thing is, wail. But get it out. And believe that God, in His infinite presence, hears.